Hmm. Okay, so guys, we are live and back again at the Mentor Conference second event of the pre-conference day one. So this event is going to be very helpful and insightful for someone who are planning to get into data science or any other allied fields. And we have a very special speaker who is going to help you out with the entire data science bootcamp. So without wasting further ado, let me first introduce you to the speaker. We have Yogesh here. So Yogesh is a co-founder of Co-Learning Launch, and he has multiple experiences of identifying and delivering production-ready AI solutions for business problems. He's been extensively working on conversational AI platforms like Rosa, Dialogflow, Korea AI, I think, and he manages his own data science community called Co-Learning Launch. So if you guys are aiming to get into data science and want to have a community kind of an experience, I would highly recommend you guys to join Co-Learning Launch, okay, as a community. And he's been a speaker at PyConf also. If you have known PyConf is a very reputed event for data scientists in a community, and is an active Rasa contributor. And he holds a Rasa superhero tag also among the community. So all the Rasa community guys would be able to identify him that way. Perfect. So let me introduce you to Yogesh. Hi, Yogesh. How are you?
Hi, Nikhil. I'm good. How are you?
All good. All good.
Thanks for
So,
having me.
yeah, you're welcome. Yogesh, why don't you give a brief background about yourself and how the session is going to be there so that we'll prepare for all of this?
Definitely. So this session is mainly about those people who are looking to enter into AI field. Mainly, if you can also term as a data science, machine learning, deep learning, analytics, right? So especially for those who are not really clear, what actually AI is, what are the applications of AI, and considering their past career or probably their future, let's say career after let's say graduating, or if they're currently studying, so what they can where they can enter into as a data scientist or AI engineer, right? So I'll be covering all about breaking down the AI definitions, AI, machine learning, deep learning, and then we'll go into looking at where all AI is being really used, right? And we'll also look at cool applications that today it is in real life, so it will be it should be fun, I guess.
Great. So, guys, I hope you guys all are excited. So, let me hand it over the session to Yogesh. Yogesh, the session is all yours. I'll be on the backstage if you need any help, and let's get it started.
Sure. So thanks, guys, and I would highly appreciate for admits effort here in terms of bringing everyone together and allowing me to share my experience and knowledge in terms of how anyone can get into AI. And I'm sure if you're following through till the end, you should be able to get a clear sense of what is all about. And feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, so anytime when we have a Q&A at the end, will become right. So let's just begin our session. So we'll talk about me in 30 seconds. So basically, I am Yogesh Kothiya. I'm the founder of Co-Learning Launch, and like everyone else, I've also played multiple roles. From starting from student, mentor, entrepreneur, engineer, employee, right? And the one thing I've realized is that. Like one common problem that we all have today is learning, right? Things are evolving fast, and like technology is changing very rapidly, and how can we cope up with the learning so that we stay relevant, right? And considering that problem, one thing I understand that if we can solve this problem with the help of a community, it should be awesome, right? And helping someone in learning is definitely a good cause, right? So that's why we are building the co-learning launch, where we come together and help each other in terms of upskilling. So right now, especially in data science, but yeah, we'll expand more. And yeah, by heart I'm community builder, and that's where I take opportunity to build community, and especially in the ed tech, because that's the problem which I face everyone is facing. And I'm a fitness freak, and I like dancing occasionally whenever I'm free, whenever I'm spending my spare time, right? So this is all about me. Let's move into this what are we going to talk about in this session, right? So this session is particularly about I'll say I'll demystify the buzzword AI/ML, DL, AI, machine learning, deep learning, and understand what does it mean, in simplistic manner, and where and how it is used. Okay, and we will also begin with some interesting movies that we might have seen. It can be movies, it can be web series, it can be documentaries, right? So because lately we have been seeing a lot of technology based movie, and that is really like we're going to see such a kind of technology in the coming future, right? So it's definitely inspiring and interesting, and we can see where are we going, right? And after that, we'll look at quick timeline of AI, how AI has been evolved, and how rapidly it is evolving, in last decade. So that will give you the quick sense of how should you prepare for this change, right? And after that, we'll have a proper comparison between uh, AI, machine learning, deep learning. We'll also see what is NLP, what is computer vision, right? So overall, you'll get a wholesome idea about what does that AI mean and what other terms mean, right? And then we'll look at very important question, which is it a boon or ban, right? So how it is going to affect us, how it is going to help us, especially in terms of jobs, because primarily as a technology, it might or might not affect a lot of jobs. So we'll look into that, and then we'll look at what is AI today. Okay, and we'll see what is AI, at what stage AI today, and we'll look at what is AI tomorrow. Okay, and then after that we'll have a we'll go through a couple of mind blowing AI applications, which is being let's say either uh, at least developed today, or at least still in research, but it is definitely sounding very promising, right? And then we'll go through we'll go through where AI exactly is using getting to used in business, because that's where we see everything, right? Like if it is solving any problem, especially in business, I think it's going to give a lot of opportunity, right? And at the end, we'll see what all business AI is being used, and then we'll wrap up and we'll have a Q&A, and we'll discuss further, right? So let's move to very simple question, which is what is AI, right? So we all might have heard a lot of things about like AI, or especially whenever it was a buzz, we must have seen AI everywhere, right? Even in the research paper, pitch deck, a lot of things, products, services, etc. Right? So even news and a lot of things, right? So definitely it's thing to understand, and understanding it properly will definitely help us to differentiate what are we trying to follow and what are we trying to pursue, right? So let's look at what is AI. So basically, AI refers to the simulation of human intelligence, right? So basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give that our kind of intelligence, human intelligence, to a machine. Okay, so it's a simulation of human intelligence in a machine that are programmed in a programmed to think like a human, right? So basically, what we can do, we're just trying to make machine do, right? So that's what basically AI will sound like, and when we say what we can do and what what we're trying to do we make machine do, it's all about our cognitive actions, right? So it can involve a lot of things with respect to our learning, reasoning, our problem solving, and even our perception, right? So that is what the true AI is, right? And if I have to put it in other words, it's like creating a machine which is capable of understanding the environment, understanding the problem, and acting intelligently according to the situation, right? So that's what we do as a human, right? So we behave, or I'll say we respond to the situation, right? So basically, as a machine, it should do the same thing, and definitely to the human intelligence, right? So that's what basically AI is, right? So that's where it looks very super cool, and you just go wow, right? So in real in picture, or even in movies and all, it looks something like this. But let's see how we are approaching there, right? And so wherever machines, right, having machines make decisions like humans, right? they, like most probably machines which are far more better in computation than us, right? They outperform our, lot of our tasks actually. So that's where, AI is getting very popular. Very, I think I'll say, even more intelligent than what we are. Intelligent, and I'll say, I'll let you know guys about how AI is intelligent than us, and where are we intelligent than AI, right? So that will go through, right? So that's all, simple definition of AI. Basically, it's a human intelligence that machine is trying to have, right? So next is, okay. Okay, we talked all about AI, and we have seen these things in AI and all, in movies and all, especially, right? So, like, probably today, if today, or let's say 5 years back, or 10 years back, if you ask the question, is AI real? Okay, and if you talk about is AI real, then we primarily got this AI sort of thing in the movies, right? So. When most of the no, when most of the people hear about the term AI, the first thing they usually think of is a robots. Okay, so because that's where big budget movies or novels, or all this big kind of uh, uh, media who creates the story about human like machines which are robot, which just destroy the earth, or which can just take over the earth, right? So in that sense we have seen AI. Okay, but definitely the truth is far from the, what we have seen in movie, right? So you must have definitely seen the robot 1.0 and 2.0, right? So something like this happens, and then hero comes and, just saves the world, right? So uh, that's not definitely, like, we are not definitely there, right? And I hope we are not going there, right? So basically, probably those people who are not really into AI, and those who are new to AI, might just have this, perception of AI, right? So that's not really true, right? So we'll just demystify all these things, and let's look at the bright side of AI. Okay, so the AI where we have seen in movies and we have got, inspired, right? So there are definitely a lot of movies which we must have seen, but there are some popular movies which are truly based on AI. Like, as a movie, it must be based on a lot of technology, but there are a couple of movies which I have shown on the, on the slide, like Her, Transcendence, and Wall E. This is an animated movie. So if you watch this movie, right? So those movies are truly based on AI. Matlab, they are like, they are either trying to explain you what are we going to do with AI, or they're actually using AI to, show you the new world or whatever. But these kind of movies are more into AI specific, right? So I've just listed a couple of movies. Definitely you might just have a long list, and in case if you haven't watched, like some of the movies, or probably all of the movies, you should definitely go and check it out, because I think it's cool. And if you're trying to understand what AI is, definitely it will have an entertainment, but I think you'll get a fair idea about what is AI, right? And not just movies, but uh, there are web series also, right? Because nowadays we are more fond of web series, and like, there are good amount of web series which are truly based on AI. So there's one Person of Interest, there's Next from Netflix, and there's one Hindi web series which is Aisha, Aisha, right? So personally, I've been following Person of Interest, and probably I'm going to watch Next again. But I've watched Aisha as well. So those kind of movies will give you, a picture of AI, and definitely it's interesting. Not just movies and web series, they are documentaries as well, right? So when you talk about documentaries, I think we all have that perception that documentaries are meant for, showing the real side of the topic, right? So even if you look at any of this documentary, you will you'll definitely see the real side of, artificial intelligence, right? So I probably I'll recommend you guys to at least go through this documentary. Some of you might have definitely must have went through. I Social Dilemma was quite what was quite famous in on the Netflix. So these are the documentaries which will give you, true sense of what is AI, how it is used in a good way, how it is used in a bad way, or all these things, right? So, and those topics are from, the talks from in this documentary are from big companies, right? So they some of them are sharing, very important information. So this is all about AI, okay? And this is what we have seen. in the movies. Okay, and now let's see where are we going. Okay, the movies and all is good. It's good to watch and forget, but what is it in real life? Okay, so before that, let's just quickly touch upon where did it start. Okay, so basically, it started in 1950. So basically, if you look at it, AI is almost around 70 years old, right? So 55, 65, 70 years old, right? And it all started in 1950 when computer scientist Alan Turing he proposed a test, that is Turing test, for a machine intelligence. Okay, so for example, if a machine can trick a human into thinking it's human, then it has intelligence. Meaning that there's a room, and so in that room machine is there. Okay, and this other room there's a human. Okay, and there's a third room where there's a human. Okay, so the one human is talking to one machine and one human. Okay, and at one point when a human, which is like testing or evaluating machine and human, if at one point if machine can't able to figure out who is machine and who is human, at that point actually the Turing test has been passed. Okay, and that's where machine is really getting intelligent to mimic human behavior, right? When I say mimic human behavior, not like responding in a like a robotic way, or having emotions, having sentiments, and speaking like a more like a human, right? So uh, that's what machine intelligence is, right? So it all started with 1950 when Turing test was proposed, and then in 1955 artificial intelligence term was coined by computer scientists. Okay, and that's when then in 1966 MIT developed one of the intelligent chatbot called Eliza. And the Eliza was meant to talk to the human. And Eliza was representing as a psychotherapist, and that's where you people started seeing the implementation of, let's say, AI, right? And then fast forwarding, if you look at our last 10 decade last 10 years, right, decade, right? So we have seen a lot of tremendous application. Definitely AI has been evolving very very rapidly in last 10 plus years, right? And we all know Siri, which got launched by Apple in 2011. And then in the same year, IBM's supercomputer Watson. Okay, Watson won actually against two humans in one of the quiz show. Okay, which was pretty amazing. So you ask, like, the host asked the questions to both of them, and Watson was able to respond very quickly because it had all the powers of quickly searching, computing, getting the right answer, etc. Right. So that's where there was a breakthrough. And then lately, in case if you have been following Google's yearly events, then we must have seen AlphaGo from Google, right? So it was the computer or the AI AlphaGo actually beats the world champion in the game Go. Okay, and it was truly AI based. And lately, OpenAI is a lot of models, or AI algorithms were able to there was an algorithm Dectel which was which was learning itself or training itself to solve Rubik cube. Okay, so that's where things get bit advanced, where things started to evolve, right? So especially in the machine, right? So, and lately, in case if you are following, then there was a huge breakthrough lately, and by OpenAI in GPT-3, right? So with just one sort of model, you can just command it, and there is a lot of creative things are happening, right? And today there are quite number of startups who are based on the GPT-3 applications, model, right? So you just have to talk, or just mention, and it will just create things for you, right? So like magic, right? So lately there was a lot of advancement in the AI, and and definitely it's going to get more better and more faster, right? So that this is all about AI, and when it started and how it is evolving lately, right? And going forward, let's go to okay, now we saw that AI. Okay, AI is something more like a human machine trying to attend human intelligence. Okay, now let's say then what is machine learning? Okay, And because there are a lot of things or a lot of terms when you come across, sometimes AI engineer, sometimes ML engineer, so you don't really know what is really happening. And this is typically one of the questions asked by our managers, in the interview about how do you differentiate between AI and machine learning. And that's where they're trying to understand you about this technology, how deeply you know about this thing. And like, this is a very basic thing, but still, you should have a clear understanding about what is machine learning, what is AI now, right? So here we're going to just touch upon what is all this, right? So basically, machine learning is a subset of machine learning is a subset of AI, okay, and which refers to the concept that computer program can automatically learn and adapt to new data without assisted by humans. Okay, so let me just break this thing. So uh, uh, machine learning is a part of AI. Okay, we'll just see how it is, and which refers to the concept that computer program, right? So basically, it's all about machine and computer program learns from the data. Okay, so basically, whatever data that you provide to the machine, it will learn from it and it will get better there. Okay, without you getting without you actually uh, programming or doing much of effort there, right? So it's a kind of a machine, it's kind of algorithm where things get better with the data. Okay, and it's always keep on learning, right? So that is what that is what machine learning is. And we'll definitely just try to have a more better comparison. So basically, AI is a technology that enables machine to simulate human behavior, which is correct, right? Now, what is machine learning? So machine learning is a subset of AI, as I mentioned, which allows a machine to automatically learn from past data. So basically, you just pass a lot of past data to the machine, and from the past, just machine learning algorithms learn from past data, and will try to predict. Sometimes whenever something comes in the future, and that's where it is getting better, right? So basically, you're not programming anything, you're basically teaching, let's say, machines or its algorithm or training its algorithm to learn from data. Okay, and because we have a lot of data, we can definitely do that part, right? And like, coding same thing or programming same thing will definitely be difficult, right? So uh, AI is trying to match human behavior, and machine learning is kind of learning from the data. That's what we can uh, look at it. And if we just try to understand more about both of them, so basically overall AI is trying to solve a complex problem. Okay, so because human brain or human intelligence is a complex problem, you can't just really solve any problem with just one set of uh, thing, right? Because your brain is so complex that you just go to a lot of it goes to a lot of things to solve one problem, right? So likewise, AI is trying to AI is more of a solving a complex problem. But the goal of machine learning is to allow machine to learn from data so that they can give accurate output. Okay, so here machine learning or the machine learning algorithms are kind of learning from data. The goal of machine learning is to get better at predicting something or giving you the better output. So that's the goal of machine learning. AI is more of a solving the bigger problem. So we'll see how it is. Oh, sure. So yeah, so much. So far what we have seen is that AI is more of a matching machines human intelligence, and AI is kind of solving a complex problem. And machine learning is a subset of AI, and then machine learning basically learns from past data that we provided it to the machine, and then machine will get better at predicting the output of the algorithm. Okay, so and the AI, which is trying to solve complex problem, is improving itself on a chances of success. Okay, so definitely we don't like to fail, and even if machine fails, it's not going to be it's not of use, right? So on AI is more of a getting better at chance of success, right? So success can be of any mean, but machine learning algorithms are getting better to get let's say to give better output, which is in terms of accuracy, and to better identify the patterns. So the more, the better they identify patterns, the better they will be able to uh, predict better, right? They'll give you the good results. So machine learning's goal is that. Okay, and if you look at the AI applications, right? So just I went through Google's AlphaGo and kind of Siri. Let's say in case if you guys have seen Google's Duplex, which came I think a couple of years back. So those are the AI applications because it was it understands a lot of things to give you some sort of a response. But machine learning applications is more like a, let's say, predicting house price, or predicting weather, or predicting, let's say, let's stock market, this thing, right? So because it was trained on limited set of data, or limited domain specific data, its goal is to predict that only. But AI in general is more, as I mentioned, it's complex, right? So so that's all about AI and machine learning. And last one thing is that uh, AI, as we have seen, right? So AI is trying to solve complex problem, and it can learn from structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. So we'll look at what is this kind of data, but the goal of the AI is more of uh, uh, which works on all kind of data, I'll say. Okay, and machine learning basically works on a structured and semi-structured data. Right? So as a definition, we understand what is structured means, but we'll see how it looks like in with respect to machine learning. But machine learning can't really work better with unstructured data. There are techniques to do some sort of things there, but machine learning gets better, or let's say train itself on the structured data. So far, we have seen AI and machine learning. Now let's look at what is deep learning. Okay, so if you look at machine learning, there is a subtitle that it programs that alters themselves. Alter meaning the more data that you give, the better the data that you give, the more it will, the better it will learn, right? And what is deep learning? So deep learning is the subset of machine learning. Okay, so machine learning was a subset of AI. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, right? So deep learning techniques are unable to automatically learn from a huge amount of data. Okay, which is unstructured. Okay, so that's where deep learning gets better, or it performs better. Okay, so the whole idea of deep learning is because the data is huge, data is unstructured, and that's why accuracy or output suffers, right? And that's where deep learning comes, and it gives you better accuracy. Definitely it is very, very complex, and math oriented, and it needs more of computational power, right? So deep learning is used for the unstructured data. Okay, so now we looked at AI, machine learning, deep learning, and AI is more of a solving complex problem. It can, definitely work on all type of data. Machine learning is kind of a subset of AI, and uh, machine learning's job is to, work on a specific task and improve that. And deep learning comes in where there is a huge amount of data, and when the data is unstructured, and when you definitely need better accuracy, or whenever you have a good computational power, that's where you can use deep learning, right? So deep learning is mostly used in the data like text, image, and videos. Okay, so now we'll go to the difference between machine learning and deep learning, because that's where you'll understand better in terms of how and when this kind of things to be used, and what is the data that we're talking about, right? So as you can see on the top, right? So let me just yeah, as you can see on the top, right? So so let's just take a example of IPL data. Okay, so whenever IPL is going on, whenever matches are going on, we kind of predict something like we kind of predict the winning probability of, let's say, a team, or we kind of predict how much a team will score for particular match, how much that particular player will score, etc., etc. Right? So if you look at it, the table which is on the top, this is what we call a structured data. Okay, it's nicely structured, and you have specific information for all such a records, right? And this is a structured data. Okay, and when you have an application like you want to, let's say, tag Rohit Sharma. So in this below data, there are three photos of Rohit Sharma with different people, and you want to tag, let's say, Rohit Sharma, right? And uh, this data is called unstructured data. I'll tell you why, how it is. So structured data meaning your data is in a way that you have all sorts of features. Okay, so if you see here, RCB versus KKR, so it has this kind of features. For example, inning, batsman, which batsman is playing, how much of run they've scored, what what over it is, which bowler it is, how many extra runs, total runs, etc. Right? And how many, like which team is going to get going to win this, let's say, match, right? So each such a match, like for example, let's say this is one of our match, right? And each such a match has a this kind of features. Okay, when you have this kind of features, when the data is structured in this way, which is more of a readable, you can definitely change, alter something, right? And this is what we call a structured data. Okay, and this is the data that you give it to machine learning model, and it will, there will be definitely labels, meaning you are telling a machine to uh, you are basically directing machines or algorithms to predict something. Okay, so for example, RCB versus KKR, in that RCB won. Next time RCB versus KKR, RCB won again, right? So whenever you're trying to predict third time, because it was kind of winning, RCB winning every time against KKR for whatever reason, you most likely to predict RCB again as a winning team, right? So basically in the past you have given that kind of data. So this kind, based on all these parameters, all these fields, you're going to train the machine learning models, and that's where machine learning models will learn, and then it will try to predict next time when the same thing occurs. Okay, so this is your applications with respect to machine learning. Okay, now in the bottom, when you have application like you want to tag, let's say, Rohit Sharma, or let's say you want to tag, let's say, team's name, based on the jersey that you can see on the image, right? So here you can't really derive too much features, okay, because this you can get, any image in any form. Okay, even you can, even you can have a video in place of image, right? So it's really hard to get a features out of it. Features are, it's like, for us it's easy to view, easy to watch, but for a computer to, learn this thing, it will be really hard, right? So when the data is like this, okay, this is what we call unstructured data. Okay, also if we talk about text, right? So whenever we have a lot of tweets on IPL, okay, so getting a features out of the tweets, it will be difficult, because there can be anything people talking about in IPL, right? And they will be not set, won't be any set features for, like this, which we are showing in the table, right? So that's where, when the data is complex, which is like image, or let's say text, voice, video, right? That's where, when the data is complex or unstructured, which is, difficult to get a feature out of it. And because of the complexity and all, we use deep learning to teach such a applications, to learn from this application, right? So that's where we have a clear difference, that whenever you have a proper structured data, or let's say in case of semi-structured data, uh, are you going to use machine learning? Because machine learning, machine learning don't really do feature engineering by themselves. Okay, for example, if you just give, minimum data, or let's say, uh, partial data, learning models will not be able to figure out, the new kind of parameters, or uh, features, right? So that's where machine learning models are not really performing great. And whenever you can't really do anything about features, which is in the image kind of data, that's where you use deep learning kind of tools, right? So that is a clear difference between machine learning and deep learning, right? So deep learning is a part of machine learning, right? And deep learning is more of a based on our neuron structure. We have, it's like we have a lot of neurons, and every neuron will perform some sort of a task, and collectively, it will perform, a larger task, right? So if you go into deep learning, we'll definitely can understand this, but on a high level, there's like this difference, right? So uh, uh, the so so in deep learning, right, when we talked about there are four types of, primary data, which you can use to perform any deep learning based task, right? Which is text, audio or voice, video, and image, right? So definitely you can give this kind of data to the deep learning also, but it needs a lot of data, because deep learnings are, models are data hungry, right? So sometimes, because you do not have a lot of data, and you can't really fake data, you can't really augment data, right? So because of that limitation, you definitely have to prefer machine learning. And whenever you have this kind of data, which is image, you can definitely have a lot of variety of image, right? I can just flip this image, and I can get a new image of the same thing, right? So I can generate a lot of, let's say, modified data, augmented data, to at least, make deep learning models satisfying, right? So that way deep learning or machine learning is being used, right? So so the reason I'm talking about is because whenever we go further, we'll look at all these applications where this machine learning or deep learning is being used, right? So let's just move to next point. So in a one picture, we see this is the clear cut difference, right? And if someone tells you, or if you want to understand again, I think this should be easy to for you to look at. Okay, where to use deep learning, what is ML, what is AI, etc. Right. So next time someone talks to you about AI, ML, DL, probably you will know better. Okay, so now let's talk about what is NLP, what is natural language processing. Right? So now we are more into talking applications of AI. Okay, so throughout the presentation, I'll just mention AI because we are talking about in general AI, and all these components which are machine learning, deep learning, NLP, computer visions are part of AI, and that is going to give us uh, the 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 complete AI application as a thing, right? So if you look at NLP, right? So NLP is natural language processing, and all the text and voice or audio related, let's say, applications are based on NLP. Okay, so you can do a lot of things here, which most of them I've mentioned here. And if you look at it, there are a lot of use cases of it, right? So lately you must have seen a lot of cool things happening, or a lot of advanced things happening, which is chatbots, or autocorrect in your keyboard, or let's say mobile keypad, or let's say while you are in the meeting, you getting transcript of that meeting after meeting is done, right? So that's where speech recognition is used, and a lot of things like entity extracting entity or language translation, sentiment analysis is very important use, and it's widely used in most of the business, right? So all these things which are text based, where we have a natural language conversation, I mean in natural language, that's where natural language processing is used, right? And if you look at it, most of them are hard to categorize under machine learning. You can still do machine learning on this sort of application, but it will not really give you good results, right? And because of the nature of the data or the complexity of the data, you can use NLP to solve all this kind of problem, right? So all these problems again going to get repeat when we talk about where exactly it is used in the business, right? But this is all about NLP. We'll go next in what is computer vision. So this is uh, one of the applications of AI, which is computer vision, right? So it's all about vision. Like how can a computer have a vision, right? Vision means like how can computers see and react to it, right? So uh, uh, lately we must have seen small AI based applications being used in our mobile also, which is like Google Lens, or in the photo itself you can uh, in your phone, photo of the same person or the group will get categorized automatically, and then it will automatically, or proactively will notify you about same photos, duplicate photos, or the kind of memories and all, right? So that's where most of the computer vision applications are being used. This is where you use image classification, right? And nowadays, if you have to track someone's movement, so you can use human pose estimation. If you want to tag someone, so whenever you upload any photo to Facebook will auto tag, or at least suggest you that okay, here is person's face, and that's where you can go and tag that person, right? So to reduce your work, they are using AI to give you that feature where it will auto tag, and it will ask you to approve it, and that's where people will start tagging, right? So it's a part of definitely business. uh, AI as an applications, or computer vision as an application, it is helping the business to drive more engagement, right? That is one thing. And lately we have been seeing Tesla and all self-driving cars, right? Or overall image segments, like whenever you have a lot of image, how do you segment into multiple categories, right? In one image, how many things are there also can be termed as an object localization. And yeah, this facial recognition, right? So like nowadays we have this facial recognition based software, or attendance kind of thing, right? So all this use case where we need to see, we need to, where there's a vision, we need to use a computer vision, right? So this is all about computer vision, right? And now let's just look at, let's just pause for a minute and then just look at, let's explain, someone what is AI, right? So if I can tell you, if let's say, uh, let's say, assume that AI is a car, okay, and then what is machine learning? What is deep learning? So if AI is a car, then machine learning is the fuel that runs it, okay. So like, without, without definitely machine learning based or deep learning based application, there won't be any AI, right? So AI is a wholesome thing, it's complete package, right? So it's not a singular component that allows the cars to run, but it's one of the more important ones, it's one of the important component of the car, right? So it's that's why we see it's a subset of AI, right? And the concept of machine learning helps system achieve AI, right? So that's all about AI. So basically, what machine learning job is to do is to, to which it includes logic, it includes reasoning, it includes, it definitely there will be rules and restrictions that you know have in your model, that will be calculated approaches, etc., etc., so that it gets or it gives a better or successful response, or to the situation, right? So in a nutshell, if car is AI, then machine learning is, is a fuel, right? And if we just upgrade ourselves to, let's say, current example, right? So let's take an example of self-driving car, right? So self-driving car is, let's say, kind of AI based uh, application. So there definitely you don't really have to drive, but yeah, because of the sensor, the cameras and sensors and all, as as you guys can see on the screen, it will detect all the possible objects, which can be car, which can be pedestrian, which can be people, which can be some sort of a board, etc. Right, signals, etc. So it will just identify all this object, and based on the object it will react to it, meaning, for example, if this is a red signal, it will stop. If there is some sort of some car there in between, it will slow down, or it will avoid a collision, etc., right? So because of the deep learning based computer vision technology, it is learning there, okay. Let's say internally, if you have some sort of applications where uh, your speedometer, your fuel indicator will predict that how soon your fuel going to get over, based on your destination, or the traffic, the overall time and traffic it takes to reach there, right? So it will predict, okay, probably in after 10 kilometer, after 20 minutes, based on the same speed, your fuel is going to get over, right? And it might just auto suggest you some nearby petrol pump, right? So that way machine learning can be used to predict small things, right? So the wholesome, you can definitely use machine learning based. So all these applications that you see in one self-driving car, right? So there are a lot of applications which are based on machine learning. There are a lot of applications which are based on deep learning, right? So when I say deep learning, it can be definitely based. So one of the main application is a computer vision thing, right? And if you have a voice assistant in your car, right, and you, without pressing any button, you will just talk to the assistant, and then you'll change the song, you'll do something, right? Or you'll just say, hey, change the location, or give me the shortest route, right? So you're speaking to the speaker, or the system, and using NLP kind of technology, it will it will do the job, right? So wholesome, this is the AI, and all these small applications that you see in that, let's say, that application is what where we see machine learning and deep learning, right? So I hope the things are clear now in terms of what is AI, what is ML, where do we use ML, what is deep learning, why exactly it is deep learning, and inside that, what is NLP, and what is computer vision, right? Because this is all going to give you the complete idea about how can you solve one problem. Because you might just take one machine, let's say one machine learning as an example, and solve one problem, but it's not really going to solve a bigger problem or bigger business problem, right? So that's why we need to look at all this points, and then need to decide how, what we need to do to solve problem, or what we need to, let's say, make our career into, right? So basically, this thing should be able to help you, right? So uh, going to next, okay. So now if you ask me, AI, right? So is it a good or is it a bad, right? I'm not talking about those things where I'm not talking about the that robots where it will going to just change the world and all stuff, or just overtake the world. But let's talk a real thing about which is a million dollar questions, which is most frequently asked question, which is or will AI going to take away our job, or will it create a new jobs, right? So because this everybody is concerned about that, right? And especially those people, I'll say 90% or at least 50% of the people who are not really so educated, and because of the income and all, those people are going to get much affected with the AI, right? So in a nutshell, you just have to ask a question to yourself. If you want to answer this question, that is AI good for me or bad for me, so just ask the question to yourself, that how routine is your job, okay, and that is how likely a job is going to be replaced by AI. Okay, so if you have a job which is routine task and it can be done by anyone, you don't really need special skills for to do that. But if it is a job which is routine task or mundane task, and if it is going to get replaced by AI, then you most probably in trouble in terms of getting that job away, right? So most of the, I'll say, customer support jobs are going away because of the AI. Okay, and definitely like not just customer support, but those kind of repetitive tasks where we have to separate beans, or we have to ask customer repetitive customer calls, like same questions, etc., etc., right? So those kind of things, it's again repeating every time, and it's difficult to deploy a human there and scale, right? So definitely machine probably can do better job than us, and with the amount of data that we can train to the machine, I think they will just excel to the work that they're doing, right? So those kind of things are going to get replaced by AI, right? And that's where someone has to upskill and make sure that their job is relevant to the their skills are relevant to the job, right? So in the matter of, let's say, 5, 20, 20 15 years, this is going to happen. And yeah, it's there's no I think it's good in a sense, because we are not really getting some kind of work which is super boring, right? So we kind of invested into something which is more critical and important, right? So this, I'll say, this is in a way bad side about AI, which is going to take away some sort of a jobs, right? And but let's say, we discuss about like definitely it's going to take away jobs, but hey, like there are some things which we are which we have, right, which is innovation, right? So as of moment, let's say AI can't do innovation by themselves. No, they can't really innovate something, they can't really solve any new problem which is not was which was not trained before, right? So they are like, they lack at innovation. Okay, along with the innovation, definitely we as a human, we are by nature curious, right? And we are by nature creative, right? So uh, these three important skills, which is innovation, creativity, and curiosity, is definitely something which AI is not definitely having, right? Or it's not really something AI can do, right? So all the things which I mentioned here is where AI can definitely can't really do anything, right? We definitely need here to take this decision, right? So that's where we see that, let everything done by AI or data science or whatever, and then whatever, whenever it comes to take a final decision, that's where we human need to step in to do that, because at the end we can decide what is better and what is good, right? So one famous example is that whenever there's a self-driving car, and when you see old lady and one baby, and then if you have to take a turn, and then if you have to decide which way you can take a turn, because one of them is going to get hurt, right? So that's where self-driving car kind of, or AI based application is going to fail, right? So that's a popular example, but yeah, we as a human can definitely take some uh, impromptu decisions, and probably might try to do better, right? So uh, AI might get that, might get there, but I think it still need all this, all the skills to be there, right? So this is all about is it a good or bad, right? And let's just quickly go through very mind-blowing applications of AI which is being used to, right? So in case if anyone have seen a web series called Person of Interest, or in most of the technology-based movies, uh, AI can actually help you identify criminals. It can actually predict, or it can actually, I'll say, save any sort of terror attack, right? And it's Japan is actually considering the use of AI to predict the crime possibilities, right? So and I think most of the big countries are kind of using AI to do a lot of things, right? So this is very important use case, because we humans that can't really predict something, right? But but with such a system in place, such a computers can do it, right, better than us. And there's one more nice application which is definitely we must have heard about. It's like a reading human mind, right? So with the help of AI, AI can detect those patterns and etc., and can understand your thoughts, your emotions, and it can draw, it can draw back on the screen or on the computer, right? So basically, it can read your mind, right? And it's going to, like, I'm not sure how good or bad it is, but it's definitely mind blowing. Next is, as you can see on the screen, right? So, like, this is a typical, I'll say, very crucial or very important, computer vision skill or application, where with all such a complexity, yeah? Basically, this is a data. Okay, this is a data that you need to feed it to the machine learning, deep learning, whatever you say. But this is the data. Okay, now let me ask that, how can we understand, or how can we extract the features from it, right? Because if we extract the features, then we can use machine learning. But if you look at it, it's really hard, right? And with such kind of data, we need to use deep learning based model, which is definitely going to be complex, but it can predict the possibilities of, let's say, having a goal. Okay, and if you see, right, so it is just predicting in a real time that, okay, is it going to give us a goal or not, right? So this kind of applications are going to, you might be seeing in the future. And practically there is no, I'll say limit to what you can think of using, or AI or MLDL, NLPC, computer vision, to your thoughts, right? So you can definitely thought of this kind of creative task, and then make use of your skills in the real life, right? And there's one more nice application from Google. So as you can see, right, it's like it's detecting ultra fast pose. Okay, and you can basically track each and every moment of the athlete. Okay, and just look at the use of it. You can really collect all sorts of data, and then try to optimize everything to give you the best athlete in for the country, right? So like, definitely there are coaches, there are system in place, but definitely technologies like this can really boost the whole the scale, right? So this is the thing. And let's just quickly talk about what is next in AI. So AI is definitely helping in a lot of areas, which is especially in the healthcare. It is helping definitely in terms of finding the vaccine and everything, right? And we're going to see AI based chips, which is going to get definitely bit a lot better, and definitely intelligent. And with the AI based chips, we'll be able to do more of AI that we are doing today, right? And so we're just going to finish very quickly. So this is the question that we are all are concerned about. Okay, or not concerned, but I'll say we are just curious about. So, like, how AI is going to boost business. Like, for example, if you are running a business, or if you are working somewhere, you will always thinking, okay, how can I use a technology or something like that, especially AI, to to make myself valuable or worth to the company, right? In terms of whatever your work, your innovation or whatever. But this is a business, right? So business is what, in business we typically do make decisions. Okay, and ultimately we do make decisions, right? For example, should we go and invest there or not? Should we go and, let's say, launch this product or not, or some kind of decision, right? So ultimately it's decision. And when it comes to decision, in before there was a bunch of domain experts or humans or experienced people who were responsible for taking those decisions, right? So before, let's say, use of AI in business, there are most of experienced people who were taking decisions. But today, because of AI, because of a lot of data, uh, now most of the businesses have become data driven. They take decisions based on the data. Okay, so because data will give you the true facts. Okay, and as a human, we might have some sort of a biasness, but considering data is proper, you likely to get, let's say, uh, realistic decision, right? And that's where data is really important, and that's where those AI based applications are really important, and that's where data scientists, AI engineers, machine learning engineers, NLP engineers are really really important for the company, because those for example, those companies who are not really investing into AI going to get, let's say, behind in terms of in terms of the competition, right? And that's the general fact. You can't really be with the competition or be with the technology evolution. You can going to get going to get like going to fail, or you're going to get die, right? So uh, that's where the point is that data is is what we're driving, is what is driving us and business. And that's where we need a data sort of data engineers or data scientists, data analysts, or all sorts of people who can understand data, who can work on data, and can help the business I'll say grow, right? So that's where it helps the business in all sense. And so if you ask me seriously, where do we use AI, right? And I'll say AI is typically used in everywhere. Okay, no matter which field you go for, no matter which past experience that you might have, AI is definitely going to use that. Okay, the simple rule is that if you have a data, if you have a data in terms of documents, if you have a data in terms of images, videos, or whatever, because any in general AI or any of these applications can read this kind of data, and can can give you the better results, right? So no matter where, data AI, or let's say I'll talk about data science, is going to get used in most of the industry. Okay, so in case if you're thinking to pursue your career in this thing, and if you're thinking that, okay, which now we are thinking that we are going for data science, but your next question might be, okay, which field should I take, which domain should I go for, what should I do, what kind of problem should I work for, right? So you don't really have to worry about the problem as such, because as long as you have any particular interest, or if you have any particular past experience in a specific domain, I think you just need to focus on learning the technology and go back and solve the problem with the technology, and I think you're going to be you're going to do good, right? So that's where AI is literally used everywhere. Okay, and today we do not have time to go through this thing, but in our blogs we have mentioned about how exactly AI is going to actually, I'll say, data science is going to use in most of the industry, right? So uh, most of the industries or business has common goal, which is increasing the profit, increasing the sales, reducing the cost, or reducing the fraud, or a lot of the customer segmentation, customer support, etc., etc., right? So there are a lot of sub applications, subtopics specific to domain, which we can also look into it to understand what exactly you're going to solve as a what exactly you're going to solve as a problem when you come into this field. And it's definitely interesting. And as an engineer, you can't really solve a lot of problems, but you can definitely do very 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 good, very very uh, uh, let's say better at few of the problem, let's say important problems, right? So this is where literally AI is used everywhere. Okay, and I think we can have a Q&A now, and I would like to thank for listening me, and looking forward for the questions. Because you're speaking on mute. Nikhil, I can't hear you. You are on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So we are going to stream certain questions directly on the screen. So Samrat has asked that apart from the subsets of AI, which is ML and DL, which believes, what are the extra things are there in AI apart from ML and DL?
So, there's one more thing called reinforcement learning, which is kind of a subfield of deep learning, but it's not really. It follows the deep learning algorithms, but it's not really a clear subset. Okay, and the reinforcement learning is the one thing, and it's going to get reinforcement learning is something which is going to get better as we progress. So reinforcement learning is kind of thing which you might have seen in the games. Okay, so it learns right there and there in the live environment. That is one thing. And NLP and NLP and computer vision is part of the computer vision, sorry, part of the deep learning, because that's where you use those models to do the work. So I hope that answers the questions.
Sure. So, what is the main difference between automation and machine learning? I believe a lot of people are very new to this. They would be confused between automation and
Correct.
machine learning.
So this is a very interesting question, and I think I'm glad that you have asked. So automation is where. So I wanted to even highlight this. So automation is where you set up a process which will going to get automatically executed every time you do something. Okay, basically you pass data, you pass rules. Okay, and then you get some sort of output. Okay, so it's going to work without you, every time. But what is machine learning is that you pass data and you pass output. Okay, what you want as output, you pass that. The machine learning learns from them. Okay, and next time you just have to pass data, and it will, based on whatever learning they've done in the past, based on the past training, it will perform on that. So automation is more of a uh, uh, like I'll say automating the repetitive task, but machine learning is more of a making model intelligent. Based on your past data.
Okay.
I hope it is clear.
So, any internship opportunities in this kind of a space? How to gain such experiences?
So this is one of the common question, I think, and as we, when in our community, we are actually helping people to get this. So I'm not much experience into other fields as such, but what one thing I understand in data science is that because data is public, because all these things are open source. Uh, if you go and let's say gain experience solving, some sort of a kind of a real problem, not academic problem, and then go and solve problems, showcase in your resume, and definitely going to get internship. So I've seen people who are just out of college and got placed into top 500 or fortune companies, working as a AI engineer, right? So I'm saying it's definitely possible, and you can even start, let's say, in your second year, third year, whenever you are studying, right? You start with basics. You don't really have to solve any complex problem, but it is possible. There are internships.
Okay. Perfect. So, we have one last question from Kumar Gul. What are the other substitutions other than AI, but it should be as intelligent as AI? Because people have a lot of confusions here.
What are the other substitution of other than AI? So I not sure what exactly your question means, but I think AI in general is itself is like the
So,
true
is there
intelligence.
any
That
technology which is more smarter than AI? Is like we used to have a reinforced learning, then we have unsupervised learning. Now, is there anything which is able to supersede AI?
uh, today I'm not sure, like, because AI is what we have been hearing from long time, but I feel that not as a one technology which is AI, but I think amalgamation of a lot of technologies, which is IoT, blockchain, AI, computing, quantum computing, and all right. So all this is a technology will definitely get like give us a lot of badass results.
Perfect. And finally, do you guys have a website, co-learning launch? How do people get connected to you guys?
Yeah, sure. So I'll share. So our website is under development, but I'll share a few links. Can I share here?
You can share in the private chat. I'll share it with the people. Yeah. So guys, here is the link. We have just posted it, so you guys are able to check it, and you can easily join co-learning launch through this URL. They have a community. Your community is based on what platform?
So right now we are on Telegram, and we are planning to invest on Discord as well. But right now we are on Telegram.
Perfect. Great, guys. So I think we come to the end of the session. Thank you, Yogesh. Thanks a lot for coming and joining this session. Any specific doubt, if all of you guys have, do join the co-learning launch community. And Yogesh is very helpful, and he can guide you around, how to get into AI and ML. And the mentor conference is anyway going along, and we'll have more such sessions on different topics. Today day was we had like two interesting topics, one on AI and breaking into AI as jobs. If you have missed it, go to our YouTube. There's an Apple employee who have explained about AI and jobs. And after this, now Yogesh has talked about the different fields in AI and how you want to the basic introduction to AI on that note. And after this, we have another talk coming up on open source. So stay tuned. 6:30 we have another session. 6:30 p.m. on YouTube. We'll have another session on open source. So thank you again, Yogesh. Thanks a lot for joining in for this pre-conference. We'll see you around.
Thank you, Nikhil. I've also shared my personal, links. If you can share it with them, so that people can connect with me. Hmm.
Sure,
Thanks, Nikhil, for hosting
absolutely.
us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Perfect, guys. So 6:30, we have a session by Manaswini, who is a Red Hat and a Google Code in mentor. So she's an amazing mentor. She has guided a lot of students in open source. And if you are planning to get into open source, which is a very, very important aspect for any techie to get into, so do attend Manaswini's session at 6:30 p.m. It is going to be again live on Foreign Admits, be it YouTube, be it LinkedIn, or be it Facebook channels. So do subscribe to our YouTube so that you don't miss any of the events which is going to be happening on YouTube. For the next 15 days, we have most of the events happening on YouTube, and some of the events which will be closed will be happening on Zoom. Watch out for your Discord and your Telegram community of foreign admins. There we shall be posting all the URLs, and within a day or two, you will be also getting all the URLs emailed to you for respective events. So that save that email and use it as your guide to join multiple events. Now we have an amazing giveaway going around, and any one of you who are not a part of the Telegram community might be missing out big time on that giveaway. So in this giveaway, we are giving out one full TOEFL test voucher and a lot of 40% discounts on our bachelor's, master's, and MBA packages. And also, two runners up will be getting 1,000 rupees Amazon vouchers. There's a very simple steps that you need to do in the giveaway. Everything is being mentioned in the Telegram community and the Discord community. So do join the Telegram community and the Discord community. If you don't know how to join, probably go to foreignadmins.com, register on the mentor conference page, and you would get access to the community automatically. So thank you, everyone. See you at 6:30, and take care.